So we are having a busy agenda today. We'll be looking a little bit at what we worked on recently, and I'll just share our recent workshop findings on semantics interoperability, which we ran at the beginning of November. I'll introduce just very briefly the concept of power users, a group which we are currently working on, and just tell you a little bit more about it, but we'll be sharing some survey later on. I'll also introduce our new help pages for researchers as well as administrators. And once we get through these introductions, feel free, like I mentioned, to always ask us any questions as we go. But the main focus will be then the usage dashboard. And I'll introduce what we mean by this. I'll present you with some ideas which we came up with internally, and we are hoping to gather as much feedback on this as possible today. And at the end, as usual, we'll agree on the next steps, provide some summaries, and let you know when to speak to us next. So let me move with my slides again here. So I would like to share a little bit on our recent workshop, which we ran with HMC on semantic interoperability. It was, let me just move the slide here. So I think I already added the link into the Google document, so feel free to have a look at the Zenodo where we already shared a PowerPoint presentation. I was joined by most of my colleagues from the DMPonline team on the day, as well as the session was supported by one of our colleagues from DCC, Agnes. And on the 6th of November, we ran a workshop on HMC conference on semantics interoperability. It was 4-hour-long workshop, and we discussed the main types of interoperability, the legal, organizational, semantic, and technical interoperability. And we introduced these concepts from European Commission interoperability framework, and I'm happy to share these links with you if you are interested. We started the session with introducing the very broad concepts and frameworks around interoperability and semantics interoperability. And we also moved the discussion to discuss an ideal DMP platform. And we went through some real life examples of challenges around, for example, data interoperability, which can be challenging even within the same field, as well as, for example, different GDPR in the UK. Well, not currently, it's still the same as in EU, but different GDPRs, for example, in the US and in EU, and also just issues around moving data even within the same institution from system to system and the different challenges this poses. We were looking at various things, and there were also many sessions where we were getting more feedback and practical examples from people. But the main focus then of the session was discussing the semantic interoperability within DMPonline. And we brought the focus to talk about how we are using the RDA metadata standard. Dawn also introduced our recent implementation of the OECD taxonomy for research domain field. We also discussed how we are using the RE3 data registry for the list of repositories, also using the RDA metadata standard catalog for the metadata selection within the research outputs, the SPDX license registry for selecting an appropriate license, and others. And we then also moved to discussing how an ideal DMP platform would look like. And these are sort of the main thoughts coming from the group. So modern research demands a seamless, intelligent, and secure approach to managing data. And we basically tried to imagine a DMP that would not only simplify the workflow, but also harness the power of automation and interoperability to revolutionize how we handle research data. We discussed that an ideal DMP platform would have machine actionable and versionable DMPs. So you could automatically generate DMPs with pre-filled basic information derived from project or research proposals, minimizing repetitive data entry, implement version control using systems like Git to track changes in history, efficiently ensuring data integrity and facilitating data audits. We were also then discussing within the group smart integration and workflow automation, which would mean that an ideal DMP would support automatic workflows and continuous integration pipelines, such as machine actionable DMPs to streamline updates and maintenance of data management plans, and also enable branching and merging functionalities to work in parallel on data sets, enhancing collaboration among diverse research teams. Also advanced data access and security features, which would mean to provide some selective access to large data sets without needing a full download, access only to necessary bytes from a file, and employ cryptographic server time stepping to secure data entries, enhancing the traceability and authenticity of data modification. We also discuss that it would be great to enhance the interconnectivity and metadata utilization. So having, for example, a public landing page to host and share metadata, making it easily accessible for peer review and broader academic discourse. Utilize structured metadata based on conceptual model or ontology or the domain, allowing for advanced data visualization. We also discussed data governance and rights management. So, for example, we would incorporate non-deletable CC licenses and non-removable watermarks to protect data integrity and intellectual property rights of the primary data producers, especially in sensitive fields like biomedical research, and ensure that the data remain fair while providing robust measures to control data uses and prevent authorized exploitation. And last but not least, to ensure universal compatibility and export functionality. So to design the system to support various schemas, formats for data exchange, such as JSON plus JSON schema or XML, ensuring interoperability across different platforms and tools. And also allow data to be entered once and used multiple times across various documents and reviews, reducing redundancy and increasing efficiency. Like I say, the PowerPoint presentation, it was 4-hour long workshop. So the PowerPoint presentations and PDF slides are available on the Zenodo page. So if you are interested in more detail, feel free to have a look. If this is an area, again, you're quite interested in general, feel free to reach out. I have very detailed notes from the day, which I'm happy to share. So get in touch with dmponline@dcc.ac.uk, and I'm happy to talk to you about this in more detail. I would like to also just introduce the idea of what we are currently working on within DMP Online, introducing power users. So at this very stage here and now, we are finalizing the plans for how this community will work, what type of work we would want you to focus on, how often possibly we would meet, and this would not be just used for testing purposes, but we would like to start building more of a community and have various partners, not just the administrators, but maybe researchers, maybe other sort of tool providers coming together and helping us to shape DMP Online in general. So please keep an eye on an upcoming email where we will be inviting you to sign up. But like I mentioned, as a DMP Online Power user, you will have the opportunity to test new features. So you would be, if this is an area you're interested in, you could be one of the first to explore and provide feedback on the latest tool and enhancements we are working on. You could, to a certain extent, influence the product development in general, and your insight and feedback will play a critical role in shaping the future of DMP Online, ensuring it meets the real needs of the user community. You could also expand your network, so you could connect with other power users, share strategies, and collaborate on best practices in data management planning just in general. We hope you would enhance your skills, and you would receive further training materials, so for example, if we would need power users to look into our API, you would get also an exclusive sort of access to the training for those who would be interested in that, and resources to further your knowledge and expertise in data management. And also you could lead community discussions. So we would invite you to write articles or host tutorials that help others maximize their use of DMPonline. So it's really about also building a new type of community. And like I mentioned, we are still working on a document, but there will be an invite survey, and you will be able to share with us if this is an area you would be interested in. Last but not least, from the introduction, I would like to just let you know about our new DMPonline help pages, if you haven't noticed it just yet. And for this, I'll actually need to share my whole screen. So let me just move things around and make sure I have the help pages open in here. And I'll give you a short walkthrough. So there we go. This is the correct window now. So I hope you can see the help pages now. So now when you go to the DMPonline and click on the help, what we have done here, we ensure that our help pages are not spread across GitHub and partially on the DMPonline pages, but we try to centralize all the information. So regardless whether you're a researcher or administrator, you will just click here on help, and you can select one of these two links. Doesn't really matter which link you click on, because no matter which link you click on, you can always just change. So here I click on help pages for the users. And you can see we have all the sections which we were having before, but probably even more expanded, such as, step by step, how to create an account. And in help desk, we very often tend to receive these type of emails, what to do when users are unable to either log in or create an account. In most cases, the reason is that the user already has an account they probably forgotten about in the system, so they just need to click on forgot your password, for example. And, there is a step-by-step explain basically what happens, and what links to follow. But I'll click here on the help pages for administrators, because I anticipate that most of you joining us today are possibly administrators. So we are having this full list that basically just directs you through all of the hopefully interesting links for you, how to go about setting up your DMPonline, switching on and off, for example, the request feedback functionality, or creating guidance, creating templates, how conditional questions work, how to customize a founder template, how you can, this is what I mentioned, how you can enable the request feedback, having switched on through the tool, how you can also review the usage. And again, for those who are on the basic subscription and are interested in the enhanced subscription, feel free to reach out to us. But last but not least, also we ensure this time around that we are also adding the API documentation here for administrators as well. So if you are interested again in the API documentation, rather than being directed to GitHub, everything is being now provided on our new help pages. Also, the benefit, internal benefit for this is, other than just putting everything on the same page for you as users and administrators, is that these pages are editable by me. People like me, I mean, they can be edited by non-developers. So in a case we need to do some very, very quick change, this is very user-friendly, and we don't really need the developers' input to edit these. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to get in touch with us. My colleague is still adding lots of new videos into YouTube. So what I'm trying to ensure is that we are having the written content in here, but at the top, I'll be also adding the links for the YouTube new videos when they're all ready. But again, feel free to have a look through these. If you have any comments and suggestions, please let us know. These should be relatively easy for me to change going from here onwards. So any feedback is very welcomed. And I think we can move to discussing the usage dashboard, and I can explain to you what we mean by this, why have we discussed this as one of our key priorities for the 2025, and some ideas which we have for going forward. So when DMPonline initially started, it used to be free for all, but due to the change in the funding, we needed to start charging our administrators. And this is why I think we didn't have really too much statistics coming in for administrators who are now the paying clients. And we would like to change this. We would like to make sure that basically when you get to, and apologies, I'll open my Lucid actually in here, because that's where you will be able to also see what I'm discussing. I hope it loads. Apologies. Let me reload. There we go. And I'll zoom in as well. There we go. Okay. And there is loads of data and statistics which we think you as an administrator and potentially in the future, even as a user or researcher, would find interesting. But we want to focus this session and the dashboard which we are planning to work on for the administrators. So we would like to just make sure you're getting more out of the tool and getting insights into sort of statistics that might be of your benefit. There are some that I think are super intuitive and easy for me to think of that would be beneficial for you. There are some potentially that uh, we would need to look into in more detail as we start the discussion, and you might tell us some sort of other numbers or statistics just in general that would be beneficial for you. And also, I would just like to make sure as we open this discussion and as we will be going into the details, the way how it's going to be presented and the different type of graphs, that's not really focus of today, because my colleagues already reassured me that there are plenty of different pie chart and columns, and once it comes to the visualization, that won't be such a big problem. And once we get as far as really discussing how this might be displayed, it might be even down to you, and we might even give you really like a drop down alongside what type of user statistics you want to look at, and potentially having different clicks for you to select from. There could be potentially also a drop down of type of representation that would be beneficial for you. So rather than focusing on, oh, I really want this in pie chart, or I really want this in I don't know, column representation. It's really about the type of content today you would like to get out of the tool. And maybe in the future, we might discuss more if required. But like I mentioned, we might even get to the point that we might even get here a possibility to choose how to have this information represented. How I will start a session, I will first present you with where we were thinking this would potentially go, the different type of statistics which we could look at. Also, I would be interested to find out what do you think of retaining the current user statistics, or whether that would be potentially from the admin menu be all moved to this page, and any sort of further thoughts and suggestions. So I'll first just walk you through of what we worked on, and then we will be making sure we are adding all of your feedback into the notes as well. You all should have an access to this usage dashboard, but I hope I shared in a way that you can really edit it, just so we are not adding some contradicting sort of comments. Um, we will be gathering more sort of the notes and thoughts and suggestions in the Google document, if that's okay. So as an administrator, the idea is that as an administrator, once you log in and you would land as you even land now on your dashboard, these are the sort of things you would be able to see and get out of the tool. You would get some, and I was just thinking of the heading. Again, the heading and everything can be changed, but I was thinking in groups. So you could get some user management statistics, some plan management statistics, some template and compliance statistics, and maybe some statistics on permission and roles if this was of your interest. Um, and when it comes to the user management statistics, so that's really like the users being affiliated with your organizations when they come to DMPonline. I thought it would be possibly nice to see the total number of users straight away. If this was something you're interested in, again, you could also get a number of users who synced with their institutional login. You could also see a number of users who did not use their institutional login, if that would be something of your interest. So if you maybe wanted to send them an email, there would be all of these would have a possibility, I don't know, to have potentially like a CSV to be downloaded, and you would get all of the email addresses of these users, and you could, I don't know, reach out and ask to them to use their institutional login if that was something you were interested in. Also, you would get, for example, or you could get a number of users who do not use ORCID ID. We are planning some work on improving ORCID ID just in general. And if this is something you as an organization would be interested in and you want to encourage the users to use ORCID ID and again do some further reach out, this would be another type of statistics we could provide you with. Also, a number of users who did not affiliate themselves with any school or department. So again, if you're an organization that is using currently the schools and departments, and for those who are not sure what is this, I can just very quickly show you. You can go, and apologies, I'm actually logged in. I can just see I'm logged in as a super administrator rather than um, just an administrator. So what I can see here is a bit more detailed. And it's loading very slowly as well for some reason for me this morning. Okay, and I'll just go to DMPonline. There we go. So when you go as an administrator through the link here, you can add schools and departments, and you can create as many or as little as you wish. And this is also a feature which you might not use at your organization. But in a case you are, and you would like to get more details on this, again, this is the, let me just move back. This is a potential other statistics and email address where you could reach out to your users and ask them to affiliate themselves with the appropriate school or department. And again, if for some, I don't know, research, data management training purposes, or any other reasons, wanted to just reach out maybe to some users who joined in the past month. This is just an example. It could be the past month, it could be the past 3 months or past 6 months. You could again do a reach out through here. The idea, like I mentioned before as well, with all of these numbers would be to provide some CSV or some sort of form where you would get their email accounts and possibility to get more details as well and do the reach out or whatever that might be. I was also thinking just in general, if you're interested maybe to see who recently logged in into DMPonline for whatever reason, it's potential statistics as well. And again, it's not really about what this would look like, but you could again get some statistics if you are using the schools and departments where you would see, I don't know, how many users from School of Law are using DMPonline, how many users from, I don't know, medicine are using DMPonline, and different sort of charts would be available. And then I'll just move here to plan management statistics. So these are all I could think of in regards to users, but again, we can come back to this, and feel free to feed more information. When it comes to the plan management statistics, I thought you could get some numbers on plans that requested feedback. This is again a feature which you are using within your organization. So you could see immediately the number of plans that recently requested the feedback. Again, we could specify, I don't know, recently might mean within the past week. And then you would have a possibility of a total number of plans that have an outstanding feedback. And maybe there would be plans that requested feedback 2 or 3 weeks ago, and for some reason they're still there. So in here, you would not get just the super most recent within the week, but the total number of the plans where you did not click feedback complete, basically. And you could also just see an overall number of how many plans requested feedback just in general, and how many have been completed, if this is something you would find interesting. And then you could get also some more general plan statistics. So you could see the total number of plans being created under your organization. Again, number of test plans as well, if this is something you would be interested in. Brand new plans being created. For example, this is again just example within the past month, but it could be past 3 months or past week. And also possibly number of plans that have been updated within the past month. Again, if this is something you would find interesting. And also, for example, number of plans requested by users affiliated with some specific school or department, if you wanted to go into the detail. Another type of statistics I was thinking of was the visibility of plans. So if you were interested to see how many plans are set to private, that still means that you as an administrator can see it, but nobody else coming to DMPonline affiliated with your organization would see their colleagues' plans. It's the number of plans set to organizational view where everybody within your organization would be able to see it. So I'm in the University of Edinburgh, so all of my colleagues coming, working and being affiliated within the University of Edinburgh would see my plan if I made it available for an organizational view. And there is the possibility also to set your plan to be completely public. So that means anybody coming to DMPonline. And again, if this is something you would find interesting, this could be another type of statistics. And also just number of plans that recently changed their visibility, just in a case you would maybe want to reach out to somebody and let them know, please don't make this visible, or thank you for making this visible, whatever that reason would be. Another type of statistics I was thinking, and I think this would be hopefully very much welcomed, would be the statistics on template and compliance tackling. And when there are changes to the vendor template, unless you go manually into the templates page and notice that little sort of mark in there saying funder template has changed. If you customize it, please transfer your customization to the newly published template. you would be still using the old template. And this could be a nice way to highlight that the funder template has changed. And you would still need to go and publish the customizations, because this is a still step where we want to make sure you're happy with what you're doing. But you would basically get an alert here. And hopefully this is something that would make your life much, much easier as well. And again, you could get a number of your own organizational templates if you're using more than one. And again, just a click through and you would just get a view of which plans are there. Again, like I mentioned, there are much more. I just, while brainstorming, I couldn't think of more, but I hope in today's session you would be able to provide me with more ideas. And again, if this was something of your interest, you could also get a page on last edited templates if this is something you would want to look into. Last but not least, what I was thinking in terms of statistics are the permission and roles. So you could immediately get like a number of administrators within your organization and just see. And again, that could help you to manage the number of administrators and the access. So in a case your colleagues are moving, changing roles, this would give you a very quick click through. You would be able to see who are the current administrators, remove their roles, as appropriate. And yeah, you could just basically get the number from here. Um, one more thing I was going to show you, and it has much more detail in here. Like I mentioned, all of these would be downloadable, such as, for example, CSV. And where is Yeah. So where I thought the dashboard would appear was going through the admin page, and then you would go through the possibly organizational details. And then here, the dashboard, sorry, I mean the dashboard would be first thing as you land to DMPonline, but I mean, we could potentially even make the different fields to be configurable by yourself. And this is how you would be able to configure it. Sorry, I wasn't clear. I'm just realizing this here. So you could configure possibly even the view of the dashboard for yourself. And this is just a sort of very high level overview of what you could do. So you would go on the usage dashboard sort of management, which we could add into the organizational details. There would be a whole new tab, and you could possibly like tick what you wanted to see. And equally, like with all of these ticks, there could be even possibility to possibly choose what type of view you would want to get. There would be the pie chart or columns or whatever that is. Like I mentioned, the way it looks would not be in today's session the most crucial thing. It's more sort of the content we are looking at. But just in a case you're an organization that is not really using the schools and departments, it's not something you probably would want to always see. So you can just keep it unticked and it would not appear within your usage dashboard. But this is a page where I thought it would be nice to be able to edit this page. And let me just have a quick look through to make sure that I mentioned everything I wanted to. Yes, but I see this is what I meant by so when the founder template has changed, it would be a click through, it would take you straight away to this page, and you could just publish the changes or review what has happened. And again, you could just get like a whole view of all of your templates. But I'll stop talking. I think I have done enough talking, and I would like to invite discussion, questions, anything happening in the chat. Glennis, would you like to read something from the chat or?
We just had
Okay.
one question posted now. So the question is, when is the usage dashboard available to us? Do you want to answer that, Magdalena, or I could just briefly
You
say
can. You
that
can.
Yeah, okay. So just say that this is one of our priorities for the upcoming year. We don't have an exact date, but it is this year. Sorry, when I say this year, I mean the upcoming year. Yeah,
2025.
2025. We've got another question which says, would the statistics still be tracked in the background if unchecked in the menu? Yes, because we will be pulling the statistics from the plans and everything that's been created. So it's just that you would be able to view it only when you check it, but otherwise, yeah, it'll still be there. Andreas has a question. All these statistics will be available via the new API. To this, I don't think Don is on the call, but I think the answer that I have is no, I don't think everything will be available with the new API. With the new API, I think the endpoints that are going to be available at first would be just what we have currently, which would be the version 0 and version 1, the endpoints that we currently have. We are looking to review what other endpoints we can add that would be useful for other people. So if you have any suggestions, let us know. But so far we haven't finalized any new endpoints that we're adding to the API. Okay, there are two more questions. Okay, so the next one is, can you also download statistics from edit menu as well, not only from start my dashboard? Magdalena, do you want to?
I'm not sure whether I understand the question, Eda. So you say from the edit menu, do you mean like from here or?
So you have the main page that you
Mhm.
this page, and this is where you can download the data. But you also show the edit dashboard page where you have the tick boxes.
Yeah.
And is it possible to download the data from that menu as well? Because you have to tick box everything and then to go back to like the main page with all the statistics and then download the statistics from there.
That, you know what, that's a good suggestion. I didn't think of it. So we'll definitely add it to the notes, but I think that would make sense. And if it's not technically too complicated, obviously, like we will need to take all of the feedback from today and review the technical implication of it. But I don't, on a superficial level, I'm not a developer though. I don't think that would be too complicated, just adding the download button straight away in here on the usage dashboard sort of management page as well. But we'll make sure we are adding this comment into our notes. And please, Ida, if you don't mind as well, if you would add it to the today's notes, please.
Sure, I will do it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the next question we have is, please could usage statistics offer a filter with start and end dates, also provide more than 12 months of statistics? I think this is a good suggestion. Again, I think we will note it down. Yep. And the next question is it possible in the new statistics to see whether DMPs are complete? Is that what is meant with the status?
Where, let me see, where did I mention the status? It will help me just if I see. So it was visibility of plans, funder has changed. Was it on this page, the status? I'm just trying to remember where the status was mentioned. And if you know,
In the last edited templates table, we have that as
Template is different though to plan. Template is what's being presented, plan is what's being filled. So template is the set of questions being presented to the user, and you would see basically whether a template is being published or not. Plan is a different thing, and to even say whether plan is complete, it depends on the user really. Like you could possibly see like the number of questions they answered. I don't think that would be too complicated to pull that sort of data because it's already there. But I guess unless they would hit on request feedback, I don't think there is like a clear way really for DMP to say this is a complete version, because it is a living document, and even when all of the questions are being answered, the user can always come back and edit. So if it would be helpful for you maybe to see, I don't know, number of questions being answered, or if you would mark it a plan is complete if all of the questions are being answered in sort of more technical way, that could be a possibility going forward. But what I mean is, even when all of the questions are answered, I don't think sometimes that for the end user would automatically also mean that their plan is complete, if I'm making any sense here, because even though they answered all the questions, they may still think I'll just go back and review. And even I think after they hit the request feedback, they can still go back to the plan and review any of their answers. It's more complicated, I think, to be able to say when a plan is being complete.
Yep. We have another suggestion, which would be to add the statistic to know which users recently changed their institution. Would that fit in here, Magdalena, do you think, in the usage dashboard?
I think so. The only thing is, I don't think you could then like really click
Track.
through them, or like you could possibly see like, I don't know how difficult that would be within the users management. I think like the database basically knows the users that are moving across, but then I'm just not entirely sure how easy that would be to track them or get in touch with them. But at least like you could see the number, you could potentially see their name. I'm not sure. I really need to look into the sort of privacy of the users, because when they change their affiliation, there are the sorry, go on.
Yeah, Andreas has just added another comment saying at least the number and email that that they are using at the moment. I guess I'm not, don't know if email.
We would need to speak to the data protection office within Edinburgh University and see what we could do there.
Right. Yeah. But at least the number, as in the number of users, yes, I think that would definitely be possible. Which I think is part of the design anyway that you have, Magdalena. Right. Okay. Then Andreas, you have one more comment. I don't know if that's a suggestion or just a note, but in the API, we could get the information of questions that are answered from the total. Are you, is that a suggestion for the new
It
one?
was just a comment.
Oh, it's a comment. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I think it was in answer to the previous question and conversation about yeah, DMP status. Yeah. Right. We have another one? Yep.
Yeah.
For a specific template, can we get histograms of the frequency of answers to multiple choice questions? Example, 50% of people answer A to question 4 in X template.
Again, I don't want to speak on behalf of the developers, but I think because this data is already in the system, I don't think this would be a problem.
I don't think
But
so, but I don't know if it would be the first round of statistics that we're planning, just because I think for the first round it would be more straightforward ones, and then we would review which ones are useful for all admins and then pick those. But again, I think it's a good suggestion, so I'm making a note of it. Yep.
thank you, Glenys. Are there any other type of sort of statistics in terms of users, plans, and templates and permission and roles you would be interested in that we didn't think of?
Yes, so there's one more question. So about the visibility stats, does it show which users have set the DMPs to be public, private, or the
That
affiliate?
that's what I was thinking. Yes. So obviously, all of these users would be affiliated with your organization. So you would always see whatever they say, and it would be I don't know, Glenys within Edinburgh University decided that now her plan is public. So you would see Glenys' name, you would see her email address, you would also see the plan which she said to be public now. And in case you wanted to reach out to Glenys and tell her, oh, Glenys, we would actually encourage you this plan not to be public, or thank you for publishing this template to be visible for everyone, you could do so. So it would be everybody just being affiliated within your organization, and you would see these users. So out of, I don't know, 600 users, I don't know, 490 will probably have their plan set to private. I don't know, 60 would say that their plans can be shared across the organization, and the remaining 50 would be set to public for anybody coming to DMP. And for whatever reason, if you wanted to reach out to any of them, you could do so and tell them to change the setting of the plan. This is not currently available in the statistics. You would manually kind of need to probably click and see what's happening. But it'd be very labor intensive, I think, exercise to go through. No problem, Helga. You're welcome. Yeah, so I think like when it comes to templates, like you mentioned, you might be interested, maybe that could be like a follow-up sort of work we could do in terms of statistics of certain questions. That's something I actually didn't think of. Like, I don't know how many templates is each organization using. I would imagine that in most cases, it would be one, but you would probably know some type of questions you would be interested in to know the answers for the most, for various reasons, whatever that would be. And again, I think that could be a potential statistics as well, just letting you know. I don't know. If it's yes, no question, then 70% always answer no to this question. And you would just, again, get like their contact and email address, if that's helpful. Chris, you added a question. If you want to, you can also unmute yourself and speak. But if you can't for whatever reason, I can just also read it.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hi,
Thanks,
Chris.
Magdalena. Yeah,
Hello.
just to say, just to follow up, I thought it was a really good suggestion about monitoring what proportion and indeed which plans have actually completed all of the questions. And if I'll also like your format earlier where you're saying not just providing it as a statistic, but also having the functionality to download a CSV of which users have completed all the questions of a plan, or indeed have not completed all questions of a plan. It would be great then to be able to reach out and say, look, funder policy or institutional policy really requires this. What help can we give you to help you complete the remaining sections of the plan?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just I'm not entirely sure you know what you as an administrators would find beneficial, but I was just thinking exactly for this type of reach out as well to the researchers, just various sort of endpoints where it would be maybe good to start a conversation. So I guess this is a good conversation starter as well. But again, even if it's something in regards to setting the visibility of a plan, or there could be even like specific, for example, funder template you would want to collect statistics on for whatever reason. And you could see how many users filled the plan for UKRI, I don't know, AJRC or NWO within Netherlands. Or Swedish Research Council, and you could just get a number again if this is something you would be potentially interested in.
Yeah, talking only for our own institution, I think yes, it would be really interesting to be able to drill down by plan type, but at our institution we mandate a data management plan regardless of whether it's funded or unfunded. So to be able to do this across the board for all plans, regardless of the funder or whether it is unfunded, to do this right across the board and say, right, here are all of the DMPs that are or are not compliant, be absolutely fabulous if that was possible.
Thank you, Chris.
That's
Thanks. So I'm also not sure like how much people tend to use you can get some very basic statistics through the admin, and then you click through, and it's actually I didn't do a screenshot in here, but you get basically usage on statistics on your plans, and you can get user statistics, some basic one on your template as well. And when thinking about this dashboard, I wasn't sure how popular or desired that specific window is. And when we go basically ahead with this dashboard, whether you would still really want to see the other one we are providing, or whether it could be basically just merged into this, because this would provide you with so much more granularity and level and fine level of detail, and the way you can, going forward as well, visualize the data. I think it would be much more above to what's currently being provided in the tool. But if there are strong opinions for, I really need to use this usage page for whatever reason, because I can't think of a user case scenario, why would that be? But if that's the case for you and your organization, please let us know as well.
Andreas has mentioned in the chat that he would like it to be merged. So that's one for merging.
I don't know whether there are any other opinions in the room. But again, this is something I can always just, after this session, I'll be providing like a follow-up and a summary email, and invite you. Maybe if you think about this a little bit as well, what would work the best for your organization, it would be quite helpful just to get your opinion on this as well. Helga is mentioning, I am thinking merging would be best and have only one location. That's what sort of I'm thinking as well, but I just want to make sure that if there is an organization or sort of use case scenario where this is absolutely essential and you would be losing something, I can't really think of here and now what it would be, but you would want to highlight it, please, I'll make sure I'm inviting you to provide feedback on the merge, because I'm very much leaning towards, having it nicely centralized and accessible and possibly to, customizable and all in one place. But I can't think of why we would not merge. But if there is somebody having a strong opinion, I would love to hear that. Are there any other thoughts or suggestions? So like I mentioned, this would be the first page. You would go to, as you would go to your dashboard. And I can just show you actually what it looks like at the moment. So currently, yeah, it goes to your own plans really. And that's about it. So when you log into DMPonline, instead of going into this page, you would land on something hopefully much more helpful and useful like this. I can just see a comment. Glenys, do you want to read it?
Oh yeah, there's another question.
Mhm.
Which of the statistics are most interesting and should be presented on top? Usage, plan management, or other?
Feel free to answer this.
I guess it sort of depends on what the admins find useful. I guess that's the answer, because I mean, I guess if it were up to us, I don't think I have an answer, because I don't know if one matters more than the other, actually. Yeah. Does it? I guess
The
I'll turn the question back to you, Ida.
the only thing I can think of would be maybe when like a funder template changes, that would be something me as an org administrator, I would want to be immediately alert about this so I can transfer my customization. But that also equally doesn't happen like crazily frequently. So I'm not sure whether it would be desirable to keep it at the top. But again, whoever is here with us today in the room, please feel free to unmute yourself. Also, Edda, if you're having some opinion on this, let us know. Chris, yourself as well. I can just see you switched on your camera. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. If I could just ask, I absolutely agree. Really important to know when a template is updated. For us, because we customize the template, every single template is prefixed with our own local questions. It would be really helpful for us to actually have advanced notice, because as soon as the change happens, we need an admin to go in really quickly and just make one change to the plan, because our customized section disappears from view, and I think we need to reinstate it every time. And the worry is that because we have heavy usage, that a researcher might create a plan without the local questions. So to know that we've got an admin, it's something that we've built into our processes. We check every single day in case a template has been updated, so that we can implement the change ASAP, and make sure that researchers are always presented with our local questions. And you can imagine if we were to miss some researchers, then it would create unnecessary burden for them and for us to chase them up and say, would you mind creating another plan which answers our local questions? So a simple solution might just be to use the DMPonline mailing list, for example. And, you know, as you say, it doesn't happen all that often, but when it does happen, it's important to us. So, you know, if we had one email to say, this funder template, we're planning to update it at this time on this day, then that would give us the heads up to make sure that we're ready and to avoid a problem.
Thank you, Chris. And
That's,
we'll make note of this as well.
yeah, thanks a million.
Ida, did you have a preference
No,
or
I
some?
don't have an answer to this, but maybe I was thinking that something that changed more rapidly and maybe something that's more like on a daily basis would be something that you would prefer to have on top, while like usage we have increased 20 in a week. It maybe isn't that important compared to other statistics. I don't know.
No, that's a very good comment, and again, something I didn't really put much thought, I'll be very honest, into it. This is why it's absolutely great to speak to all of you today. So Helga, I think on this, Helga, you added a note how easy it is to change the order, and I actually have no idea. I don't know whether Glenys would know maybe from the top of her head.
Actually, it's once we decide on the order, that's easy to get it done, but it would be difficult to change it afterwards. So it would be best if we could agree on an order and stick to it. And yeah, so that would be it. So it's just to say that I don't think we're planning on making any changes to the order once we release this. So it would be making changes to the order before we release, not after.
So if you think some more dynamic statistics that potentially change it much more often should be at the top, we'll make sure that they are like, you know, like permission and roles. I think that's okay to stay at the bottom because that's the number of your administrators, and I don't anticipate and expect that this number is going to be rapidly changing on a weekly or a monthly or even an annual basis as much. But I can see other type of maybe more the plan management statistic related, you know, like how many plans have been answered within the specific time format you would select, or how many, I don't know, don't know, 6 questions answered instead of 12, whatever that is. But I think the sort of plans could be quite dynamic as well as users, but maybe you would be more interested just in general to get the information about statistics in regards to plans and maybe put the users, because again, getting new users, that can be quite dynamic. But again, depending on the type of organization, you might have specific times when you get much more users being registered, maybe after certain training. I'm not sure. Other organization, it might happen more organically. Again, I'm not sure, but maybe the sort of plan management statistics is something that could be at the top, and then I guess the user management could be under, because that basically means like you could do your various reach outs to, I don't know, people not using Orchid, or people, I don't know, from specific department or school, or recently joined users within the specific time period if you wanted to provide specific training or guidance or any type of reach out. And I guess maybe keeping the permission and roles and the template and compliance more at the bottom could be a way forward. But again, feel free to add any of your thoughts and suggestions, please, because we want to make sure it's working well for you. Glenys, would you, unless Helga, if you can unmute yourself, I'm not sure what you feel comfortable with.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
No, I just put a question there because I know a few people mentioned having a stats on template completed. So I was just wondering where they can break it down on specific questions. Obviously, you don't really need an answer how many on basic questions. But for example, if you want to look at ethics, in our case, we have our R&I managed ethics forms. So if we have a question on ethics and we want to know how many users have actually fully completed that specific question, I don't know if it's possible to do a breakdown. So it's just a suggestion. I'm not sure how easy that can be done.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will note it down as a suggestion along with the others, because I don't think we explored this this part of the statistics with to do with each question being answered. So
Yeah, but it is quite interesting. I'm just thinking here and now, like again, absolutely no idea, and that's something we'll need to take internally and discuss with the developers in a separate meeting. But I could see if that was as easy as I'm presenting it. Basically, you would go and select your template, and then there would be another, if you have more than one, you would select the appropriate template, and you could say, I want to see answers from this template. There would be another drop-down menu that would say, I want to see statistics for this question, this question, this question. Basically, you could just take the appropriate questions out of 2025, whatever that is. And that could be a way forward. But again, I'm just not sure how complicated that would be from the technical point of view. But I think, yeah, without any technical knowledge, I think that could be possible and could be interesting as well. No, you're welcome, Helga. I'm not sure whether there are any further thoughts and suggestions. Is there something more specific you would be interested in that we didn't really think of? Is anybody already using some type of statistics within DMPonline? And if so, what do you normally look at, or what are the type of statistics you would be interested in? There are no further thoughts. Okay. Richard, Glennis, would you like to read Richard's message?
So it says, I will be using the template usage stats to track the adoption of our new template.
Okay, so that's something you're planning to do. It's not something you're currently doing.
Sounds like it, but
Mhm.
sure, feel free to correct us. Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah.
And are there any sort of further statistics and numbers you would be interested in and you would really find helpful to have from DMPonline that maybe we didn't think of? And again, I can leave all of this with you. Oh, I can see Andres.
Yes.
Hi, Andres.
I have probably an idea, and it's related with the project dates, because for each TMP you have the project dates where they are running or not. So maybe related with those dates, you can also present some statistics about if the project is still currently going on, or if the end date already passed, or if it's not just started. something like that. But yeah, maybe that's also very specific depending on the institutes, if they are also using those fields in the project details tab.
Mhm. Thank you, Andres. And I think we'll edit into the notes as well. I think that might be quite specific. I'm not sure how many organizations are using it, but could be very interesting, I think. So thank you for the suggestion there as well.
Yeah, there was, I think, another suggestion earlier as well to use the project dates as a filter, I think, and
Mhm.
definitely I don't think we thought about using those fields as it's part of this. So it's good to know that we can start thinking about that now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because I was thinking more in terms of what I tend to see as a super administrator, like the number of users, organizations, and what you would see more the schools and departments, the orchids, the recently joined, but and I don't know, the sort of more template related statistics. But I can see there is a lot of appetite about the more granular level of the plans themselves. And like you mentioned, whether the plan has been, let's call it completed, or in other words, whether all of the questions have been answered or not. Potentially information such as the project start and end date if being used, or even as granular as being able to select certain questions and see yes, no answers, whatever type of answers on these that would be. For example, if there are some questions around ethics, getting sort of highlights on these as well. So that's been very helpful and useful for us to gather all of this, because I didn't think of the more granular level of the plans and what you might find also useful, not just that a plan has been recently created, but a specific type of question within the plan, for example, as well. So thank you very much for the feedback. So unless there are some further thoughts and suggestions, I'll share my PowerPoint presentation again. There we go. And I'll move into, oh, no, sir, apologies. I'm back to the same screen. So unless you are having any further thoughts and suggestions, I'll let you know what's going to happen next. So there are just a few dates for your calendar. Tomorrow, if you haven't sign up yet, please feel free to sign up for our free DMP online training. It will be very, very basic training. So if you feel you're in need of refresher, or would just like to make sure that you're aware of all of the sort of features and functionalities of DMP Online, feel free to join us. But it's going to be, like I mentioned, quite basic. We are planning a more advanced training on the 8th of April, as you can see the date here as well, which will be on using API. So if you're a super pro admin user and wish to learn something more advanced, feel free to join us on the 8th of April as well. On the 17th of February, we will be running a workshop along IDCC. Again, feel free to join us. It will be great to have you there. And on the 20th of May, 2025, we will be running a big DMP Online community event. So if you are interested to participate in the event, please get in touch with us at dmponline@dcc.ac.uk, and we can provide you with more details and we can find out how we could collaborate on the day. So what's going to happen after today, we are going to make sure that we are having all of your questions and suggestions from the chat in our document. In a case there were any questions being added into the Word document, please also add your email address in the brackets, and I'll make sure I'm emailing you back individually, or also, if appropriate, I'll be adding the answer into the document as well. I will write a summary of today and also provide you with a link to the copy of the usage dashboard, so you can have a look at this in your spare time. And I would still invite you to provide us some more feedback. Maybe if you step back and think of this a little bit more, or maybe speak to your other colleagues as well, you might be able to gather some more opinions of what would you find useful. I presented you with some suggestions which we could do. We will also internally discuss how complicated that could be to go into the granularity of providing statistics on various plans themselves as well, and we'll let you know if this would be possible. And I think this might be happening in different type of phases, so we might go ahead with something more general as has been presented today, and we might need then more time potentially for going into the more details. But again, we'll need to have a follow-up internally on this. When it comes to the sort of order, I'll again just summarize for you that the order could be more on the plan management statistic, and that would be followed by the user management. And then after, we would have some statistic on the templates, and the last statistics would be on the permission of roles within the organization. But again, if you would suddenly come up with some further thoughts and ideas, please let us know, because like my colleague mentioned, once we have this sort of order in place, it would not be an editable sort of part of the how it's being presented to you. I think you would be still able to go down and select the type of statistics you would be able to see, and also the visualization itself as well. But when it comes to the specific order of the information on the page, that will be, once agreed, that will be set in stone as well. Each of these statistics, like I mentioned, would have the downloadable, possibly a CSV file. Again, if you have some other suggestions and thoughts about how this should be, let me know. But I thought CSV would be the way forward, and you would get the various appropriate information that would be relevant for the users, like their name, their email address, and whatever other might be appropriate for the CSV. So that's in terms of the usage dashboard. I hope you found today's discussion and presentation helpful and useful. Like I mentioned, I'll be sharing an email with you as soon as I can, and it might not be today, but it'll definitely be this week. And I'll try to make sure we are just gathering any further feedback from you, if you have any further thoughts. Before we end today, I would just like to invite you, whether you have any other questions or suggestions. And if not, as always, we will also share the notes and summary and recordings with you, like I mentioned, as soon as possible. And if you're not joining us for tomorrow's training, I would like to wish you happy holidays and happy new year. And we are very much looking forward to see most of you, I hope, in the upcoming workshop at IDCC. And again, if you would like to collaborate with us in the DMPonline Community Day in May, or join us for the API training in April, feel free to reach out. And we are very much looking forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you very much for today.